In this class, I'm going to teach you my numero uno, number one strategy for filling my list full of qualified leads who are interested in what I sell in the most cost effective and most engaging and fun way possible. I have set down all of my phone notifications. I canceled out of Slack. I recommend that you do the same. We are going to move really quickly, and I'm going to try to teach you as much as I possibly can in the next hour together. If you stay until the end, I have two very special bonuses for you, two freebies. I am not against incentivizing you to be here because I know if you're here and you implement this into your business, you can see transformational results. I've seen it not only in my own business, but with the clients that I've worked with and other students and people that I've consulted over the years. And this strategy is a game changer. And I don't say that lightly. Let's dive in. You need to build your email list. If your list grew every time that somebody told you that, I'm guessing you wouldn't be here in today's class. You'd have all of the list size and people and leads that you would ever need. But a lot of people stop short. Either they're giving you old advice that used to work back in, I don't know, the early 2010s, or they just aren't connecting the dots, are not giving you a powerful strategy that I am going to be giving you here today. And I know that you've tried to grow your list. I know that lots of you have done different things, you've implemented different strategies. Maybe some of you are more in the beginning stages where you are just like starting to think about it like, okay, people keep telling me that I need to grow my list. Maybe I should actually implement this. So I know that we have both sides of the spectrum. And it is legitimately not an easy task to have a list full of people who are excited to hear from you. It takes some effort, it takes providing value, and it's not something that usually happens overnight, at least not in my case. I have been in this business, this online business for 9 years now. And the good news is when you do get this right, it just all snowballs and it works better and better and better over time. So maybe you've tried the advice that you just need to create a list of all of your network, your family, your friends, all of the people who already know and love you, and invite all of them to your email list. And that's a great place to start, right? We want to reach out to the people who already trust us and be able to deliver more value. Problem is, that's not very sustainable nor scalable. And Uncle Albert probably isn't going to buy your course. So we need a better way, right? So then you get smarter. You start looking around and you see all of these other lead magnets or list builders on all of everybody else's websites. So you sign up for all of them, trying to crack the code of what's going to work for you and your list. Problem with this is it actually doesn't generate any subscribers for your own list. It just creates a really clogged up inbox with lots of people telling you to do lots of different things. So it can feel really overwhelming and lead down the road to comparisonitis and just really quickly. And then you get smarter. You're like, all right, I'm going to create epic content and I'm going to put a content upgrade at the end of each of these pieces of content. Or I'm going to create a checklist or a guide or some PDF magic. And people are going to line up out the door to download my PDFs. Right. So this works better. And maybe we have 31 subscribers now. But the problem that I've experienced with this strategy is I feel like I'm never done. I feel like I keep having to recreate the wheel and create content piece after content piece after content piece after content piece. And not a single one of them really is moving the needle. Maybe that cumulative effect is powerful, but it takes a lot of work because people will hear about your freebie once. They're not really that excited about it after a couple of months. So you have to, keep creating and creating. Or maybe you are way braver than I am and you are creating Instagram reels and TikToks like a boss and dancing and lip syncing your way to fame and fortune. But you're finding that only a couple people actually are making their way over from those platforms onto your email list. You're not seeing a lot of actual growth in terms of leads and sales. You're seeing eyeballs over there, which is fantastic. And it's part of the marketing process, but it can be really difficult to translate that into the end state, right? And then maybe you threw your hands up like I did a couple years ago. Like, okay, I'm impatient. I'm just going to spend the money that I need to spend on ads. I'm just going to do this by like brute force and get people to sign up because I'm going to get my ads of my content upgrade or whatever the thing was at the time in front of as many people as possible. And that felt a little bit like setting money on fire, if you're being honest. Or maybe you've had this big audacious goal that you keep putting on your vision board year after year after year. I'm going to have a 10K email list. I'm going to have a 100K email list. This is going to be the year. You're putting all of the good energy out into the space. And every year you return and you add it back to your vision board list, right? And this is a quote from probably you because it was absolutely my experience. There's got to be a better way, right? Got lucky, to be entirely honest. I stumbled on this lead generating tool really early in my career because I needed something useful to help me make a decision. And I created a lead generating quiz back in 2013. And it continues to create these types of results. They grow and grow every single year. So the lead generating strategy that I'm going to teach to you today, the one that created the results that you see on the screen, is a lead generating quiz. And even if you've tried a quiz in the past, or if you've thought about a quiz and it just seemed difficult, stay with me. I'm going to be addressing some very common mistakes that stifle this from working a little bit later. Or if you've never even considered a quiz, you're in for a treat because this is such a powerful strategy. So we've generated over 100,000 email leads. More importantly to me, it actually works to produce sales. It's not just this list, this like vanity metric. It's something that's actually translating into my bottom line, upwards of over 100K per year for the last 2 years for sure. And we're absolutely on track for that for in this third year. And we built up to that over time. And for those of you that do run paid ads, especially recently with all of the changes that have happened, this number is going to be mind blowing because whenever I run ads for other types of lead magnets, so I've run ads for PDF guides, I've run ads straight to webinar, I've run ads for free challenges and every other shade of gray in between all of those things. When I'm running an ad in my industry to a PDF, I can expect to pay somewhere between $5 and $7 per lead. If I'm running straight to webinar, I have seen ad costs as high as $20 or $30, and that really hurts. But all the way over on the spectrum, because it's so engaging, because it's so powerful, quizzes consistently generate email leads for me less than $2 per lead. Often days it's less than $1 per lead, but I don't want to like that just doesn't even sound possible if you are in this space and if you've done this before. So conservatively less than $2 per lead, which is amazing. And if you've been in my orbit for any length of time, chances are you've taken this quiz that I'm talking about, right? Like I mentioned, it was launched in 2013, continues to be my top generator. And I have tried to beat the results from the quiz again and again and again and again and again. Like I have created all of the things. I have an amazing free challenge called Type Quest. We have another amazing free challenge called Own Your Edges. We have all of these incredible pieces of content that are highly valuable, highly engaging. But yet the quiz just continues to be the engine that could and continues to drive the bottom line of our results. It wasn't always so successful though. And I'm going to teach you why it wasn't or what I've learned in this process since that initial launch of 2013. Because a quiz in and of itself isn't the entire answer. And it's really important to see the entire picture if you want to see similar types of results or create this trajectory for yourself. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. So what we're going to cover today Is a quiz right for your type of business? Second, how to pick a quiz topic that will make leads fall in love with your brand. The top mistakes that some quiz creators create. Say that 5 times fast, especially if you're trying to not only generate traffic, but generate sales. And then what needs to happen after somebody takes the quiz to lead them into that sale. I hope you're excited. If for some reason we haven't had the pleasure yet, hello, my name is Kay, like the letter. I'm the psychology driven brand strategist. I have had the honor and the privilege of being behind the scenes of over 1,000 brands in my courses, hundreds in my one on one services. We've worked with everybody from people who are just getting started, startups, all the way up into multi million dollar businesses. So I have been able to see all of that. And because I'm coming with this very particular niche, this direction of helping people build their brand from the inside out, I've been able to really identify what works universally whenever you're selling to humans, whether you're selling a service, a product, a software, or anything in between. And the reason why I do this, the reason why I keep showing up after 9 years is I believe that we as entrepreneurs are ushering in a new era of business. A lot of the old systems in the world just aren't working as well as they could anymore. So the education system is what it is, the healthcare system is what it is. But as entrepreneurs, as a human with a unique genius, a unique set of skills and story to share with the world, when you bring that to the world in an effective way, in the way that people sit up and pay attention, that creates ripple effects that I absolutely believe changes the world. When we have freedom of choice and agency over our reality, everything around us gets better. And thank you. Thank you for putting in this work because nobody said it was easy. Nobody said that this is going to happen in 48 hours overnight or anything of that nature. But being an entrepreneur means that you get to go and kill it at the gym with leg day before hosting a free webinar. And it means that you can just rearrange your schedule when the school unexpectedly announces that they're switching to remote learning tomorrow. Having this freedom and this power over the way that we live is magical. All right. Dun, dun, dun. Is a quiz right for your business? To answer this question, I could just answer it really quickly, but I want to prove it to you. There is sage archetype in this human that you're listening to, if you are familiar with my brand archetypes. And I like data, I like proof. And I think one of the best ways that we can see what's possible for our own business is to see that other people have gone there before us. It's kind of like the 4 minute mile, right? It was deemed impossible by all runners everywhere until one person, I can't remember the name of the runner, but one person broke that 4 minute mile and all of a sudden it was possible for everybody else. It was getting broken like all across the world because somebody proved that it was possible. So let me do that for you in regards to quizzes. So perhaps you are a coach, consultant, expert, speaker, or author, somebody with knowledge to share. You are part of the expert economy that is booming right now. You might recognize some of these faces and names, and all of them have a quiz. We have The Power of When, which is an entire book by Michael, and it's all about your sleep chronotype. We have people like Sally Hogshead, who has the amazing Fascination Advantage quiz and ecosystem that helps you identify your own unique magic that you bring to either the workplace or to the world. Amy Porterfield uses quizzes in conjunction with her course launches and helps you identify what your best approach to creating an online course is. Garrett Gunderson is in the wealth space and he has a quiz about creating your money persona. And the amazing Rachel Rogers recently launched the Growth Scale Assessment. So you're in good company if you're in this space. And obviously, this is my industry as well. But that's not all. You have probably run across a quiz while you've been doing your online shopping, if you are an online shopper. So Glossier helps you identify your ultimate skincare routine. The Dollar Shave Club has you give them info about how you get ready and recommends products. Saffron Avenue sells website templates. She's an incredible designer, and she has a website style quiz to help you identify which template is best for your brand. Ditch Fix is a subscription clothing box, and they use a quiz as an onboarding into their sales funnel to learn what your style preferences are. And then Warby Parker, the famous direct to consumer eyeglass brand, helps you identify which frames that you should try on at home. Maybe you don't have an e-commerce brand, or maybe you're not selling information, maybe you're selling services, right? Good news for you, this works as well. Even as brands as big as Charles Schwab have the Modern Wealth Quiz so that they can learn about their potential clients, and their clients can walk away with a new understanding of their money persona or personality. Modsy is kind of a cross between an interior design software as a service and also a service. They actually have interior designers, live humans that help you redesign your space. And they have a quiz right on their front page called What's My Interior Design Style? An amazing client of mine who went through my Convert with a Quiz program at the VIP level, which I'll tell you about later, has a boudoir photography studio in Greenville, South Carolina. And she created What is Your Seductive Boudoir Persona, and is seeing amazing results from her quiz. I found an interior designer, another website designer. Like, this absolutely works for services as well. And then just as an aggregate, just to give you even more objective data, Try Interact is the quiz platform that I love and I use. And they did a research study in 2022 for quizzes that are generating some traffic. So they had converted at least 10 leads in the last year, I think it was. And across all industries, so nonprofit, education, e-commerce, software, coaching, everything in between, from somebody starting a quiz on average to becoming a lead, they're seeing 40%, which is amazing. And then from somebody who starts to just finishes, which doesn't generate the lead, maybe it doesn't generate the sale, but you are giving people a positive brand touch point, a positive brand experience, that is upwards of 65%. So yes, it can work for your industry. You just have to find the right topic to make it work well. I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of the thinking and the teaching here before I give you all of the answers. Ask yourself if you've ever taken one of these massively popular tests or assessments before, things like MBTI, DISC, Kolbe, Enneagram, and Human Design. Why do we love them so much? Why do we come back to them? Like, why are they so useful to us? Ask yourself that question first. And by association, you are going to answer the question of what should my quiz be? Or like, how do I assess if I have a good quiz topic or not? For lots of reasons. One of them is because one of our greatest needs as humans is to feel seen and understood. We're all unique. We all have different ways of looking at the world, different perspectives. And when we can communicate that, when that gives us a language to say, this is the reason I am the way that I am, it's empowering. It's useful because it can help us understand why we've responded to different stimuli or why we've made decisions in a certain way in the past. Yes, there's some aspect of us that are self-interested, like we want to be self-aware and we want to know more about ourselves. That's an aspect, but it's really more about this sense of being accepted and just being seen, knowing that somebody else gets us is why quizzes are so freaking powerful. In contrast to some of the other mediums or other ways of interacting with the brand, it's a conversation. It's a back and forth. It's not just me, like sending information to you. Most of this is me preparing a bunch of content and giving it to you. But maybe your situation is a little bit different. I'm trying to cover as many of those possibilities as I can, but a quiz can literally deliver the content to you that makes perfect sense for your situation. It's so powerful. The way that I'd like you to start thinking about your topic is with these three possibilities. when we're thinking about what quiz to create, we want to start to ask ourselves, what are our frequently asked questions that come from our customers or clients? The questions that aren't answered with a simple yes or no or a binary, this thing or that thing. What are the questions that would take like an hour's coaching session to dig through like all of the little factors and to give them one of maybe 3 to 5 answers? Or how can we categorize our existing customer base into different buckets or different groups of humans that have something in common? And not just the obvious, right? Like, it's not that we're going to have a quiz that says, okay, are you a beginner or are you advanced? Because we could just ask one question and then that would be done. We'd be like, okay, you're just getting started. So you're a beginner. That's not a very engaging quiz. We want to have something that's a little bit more complex than that. We want to be able to use this information. And when you do this right, when you're creating a very valuable quiz topic, your quiz becomes a piece of intellectual property that your brand owns. It becomes a tool that unlocks your brain process, the way that you give advice to people or the way that you explain different things to people. Do not skip through this. Chances are you're not going to create the quiz that says, what Disney princess are you? Or what celebrity couple best embodies your relationship? Those might be entertaining, but that's not concrete and valuable brand intellectual property. Our goal is to create some system, some way of looking at the world that, again, either describes the way that our client is or what our client should do or what our customer should do. And then one other super secret, tricky thing that you want to think about once you decide on what your overarching topic is going to be, again, assessing, using the most popular quizzes that we know of. Why do we love it? Okay, let's make sure that we're doing something that is hitting those same buttons. And then answering a complex question that people have and they want to know the answer to. It's to include some keywords in your quiz title so that you're automatically qualifying and disqualifying people. The thing about quizzes is they almost work too well in some cases. So if it's too entertaining, if it's too enticing, you might attract a whole horde of people onto your email list that may or may not be the best fit or the best potential lead or client or customer of yours. It's better to be more selective about the people that we attract to our quiz. And the way that we do that is with specific keywords. Now, keep in mind, this is still very top of funnel. So we don't have to drill down to minute details. But if you work with entrepreneurs, you probably want to include some word like entrepreneur or business or increase your revenue, things that are either a signifier, like an identifier of who that person is that you want to take the quiz, just naming your niche. So for me, I have the word brand in my quiz, and that's important. I don't want to just ask, what is your personality? Because I would get everybody. We want people who are building brands to take my quiz. So, what is your brand personality? It's subtle, but it's important. And then lastly, if you don't want to name that person or name your niche, you can also name an outcome that you want to be known for or that you create for your clients. Are you helping people scale their business? Include that phrase in there. Are you helping them get healthy without a diet? Include some words about the way that you work so that people who are interested in that topic are going to be the ones that take the quiz. I have seen a lot of quizzes that are not as effective as they could be, even from people who are doing really well in other parts of their business. When they bring the quiz out, I've seen it kind of flop, to be honest. I'm not gonna call anybody out, but there's some very important things we want to make sure that we are doing and kind of like checking the boxes on when we're creating a quiz. This is especially important when we're, spending our hard-earned money to bring people in or spending our time and our energy to promote this quiz. We want to make sure that it's actually going to work and it's going to be a great experience for people. This is the most common one that I've seen. It's creating the wrong type of quiz. So many people look at a quiz as a way to answer a binary question. Am I ready or am I not? Am I healthy or am I not? Am I sleeping well or am I sleeping poorly? These types of like graded or scale quizzes are problematic for top of funnel. They actually work really well farther down your funnel. So, like once somebody becomes a client, like they pay you and you're trying to assess where they're at, then they can be really useful. But when you're in the beginning stage of a relationship, you want the experience that people have taking your quiz to be overarchingly positive. We want to celebrate them, we want to empower them. We don't want people to feel bad about where they're at. So instead of something like, are you ready to launch your business? We might say, identify the ideal business model for your personality or your style or your strengths. This is key. And when I share the bonus at the end of this class for staying until the end, I will tell you, I had a little bit of a struggle curating it, and you'll understand what I mean later, because there's this type of quiz is so prevalent. But it's prevalent because people are using quizzes for different reasons than the reason that you want to use a quiz. You want to use a quiz to generate leads that lead to sales, right? We're not trying to make people feel like their social media IQ is in the dumps, because that's not useful for them or you. And if somebody scores like 100% on your graded or scored quiz, then they don't need you. They don't need to improve anything. So I recommend staying away from this type. This one we spoke a little bit about just now when we're talking about topic selection. We want it to be on brand. We want it to be that useful piece of IP for your business. So instead of it being light and fluffy in the attempt to just get as many people as possible, it's actually better for your business, for your quiz to be more useful. We want people to do something after they get that information at the end. We just don't want to give them that dopamine hit of like, ooh, I'm Cinderella, or my dog is Cinderella, and then go on with their life. Or one of the reasons why people get confused with this is because BuzzFeed quizzes are so popular, and BuzzFeed also has a different goal than you. They just want to get as many people to take the quiz, as many people to visit their website as possible, because their business model is based on ads. If your business model is based on sales, then it's more important that we attract qualified leads than just a mass of traffic. This one I've also seen in very popular quiz systems. It's the experience, and maybe you've experienced this as well in the past. You're taking a quiz, and all quizzes can get this way to some extent, but you're taking a quiz and you can just tell what you're supposed to answer, or like you can tell which one is correlated to what results. And it just takes away the magic. It takes away the fun and the surprise of it. So if you're saying, okay, what describes you best? Are you a go-getter or are you a procrastinator? And they get to the end and it says, okay, you're a procrastinator. You're gonna be like, okay, obviously, like all of your quizzes or all of your questions asked me if I was a procrastinator. I told you I was a procrastinator. Of course I'm a procrastinator. To do this better, we want to create more mystery and some sleight of hand, if you will, in our quiz experience. So it works better to have just a mishmash of questions and answers. And here's an example. So what describes you best? I set big goals for myself and methodically work my plan every day until I get there. This both sounds more specific and personal, and it also describes a go-getter. And then B, I thrive on the urgency of a pressing deadline. The cool thing about this question and answer set is that neither of those are wrong. Both of those are equally true for different people. And then we pair it with a outcome that they're going to be excited to get no matter what. So again, people don't want to be called a procrastinator, but they might be excited to learn that they're the diamond type. They thrive under pressure. And maybe there's some ways that they can maximize that tendency to get more of the results that they want. I think you guys are starting to see the issue or the key there. Just another example. Business attorney shouldn't have a quiz that says, what's your best Spotify playlist? They might ask something like, what easy legal protection should you install into your business? And then the last great mistake and great tragedy that I see when I've assessed other people's quizzes is a tendency to just leave people hanging, to just jump off and not to extend this relationship to its fullest potential. So like, thanks, you took the quiz. Congratulations. Here's your results. See you later. Alternately, we want to invite them deeper. So those people that resonate with our results, which they should because they're positive and affirming and empowering, they can make the choice to deepen the relationship, to go the next step. And we're going to talk about that next in our fourth section. So, what is that path? What's that path from just a casual quiz taker into somebody who is going to be ready to buy from you? Myth might be, especially if you have engaged on like some of these different quiz creators, like the quiz software websites, to like, here, we have all of these templates, just pick one, tweak it if you want to, but you can just deploy this into your business immediately and start seeing results. Sound like true? Like that's a half truth. But the more complete truth is that full potential of success, it requires an entire funnel. It requires the relationship to be solidified. We don't want to ask somebody to marry us right after they spend 10 minutes with us, right? We want to make sure that we're a values fit, make sure that they understand our story and our background and where we're coming from and how we can transform their lives. And that takes a little bit of time. We introduce the 3-phase system of the Convert with a Quiz funnel. First one being your promotion plan. When I first launched my quiz, I think I got a little bit lucky, but perhaps you can use this story as inspiration for something that you can do. I actually included entrepreneurs that were bigger than me in my brand archetype quiz when it first debuted. So I gave examples of online entrepreneurs who were the innocent archetype, who were the hero archetype, etc. And then when I did that, I actually emailed each of those entrepreneurs and said, hey, I featured you. What do you think? Do you agree with my sentiments? Yeah, just here it is. I'm featuring you. I think you're cool. I think you're amazing. And several of those people actually shared my quiz out with their massive audiences. It was incredible. So I think we had Ash Amberjay who shared it with her audience, Lewis Howes shared it with his, and so on. Now, that didn't even blow up my quiz overnight. I think after, I don't know, maybe after the first 3 months of having my quiz or the first 6 months of having my quiz, I was thrilled that I had 5,000 people on my email list. That seemed inconceivable before I started. But that initial boost of getting shared out to all of those larger audiences was a really great tool for growth in my promotional plan. So think or ask yourself, who has an audience already that I could tap into who might want to take my quiz? And see if you can form a relationship with whoever's in charge of that audience. I often do this whenever I'm interviewed on podcasts. I always talk about my quiz because it's such a great way to get introduced to my work. So I'll always mention it. And then people who are listening to that podcast episode will come over and take the quiz. You can also use paid ads. Like I mentioned, paid ads for quizzes tend to be much, much less expensive than other options. Second thing to ask yourself, beyond the template, beyond what's just out of box, how can you create and provide massive value for the person that's taking the quiz? I'm going to share how I do that in just a moment. And then third, the ever so important post quiz follow up. What is the logical next step after the quiz? So before you even decide what your topic is going to be, before you ever decide what the outcomes of your quiz are going to be, you should have in mind, what am I trying to sell? Or like, what is this invitation after? Am I inviting them to work with me one-on-one? Am I inviting this person to sign up for maybe a 1-hour strategy session? Am I inviting this person to buy a particular product? What is the outcome? And make sure that it makes logical sense from quiz topic to questions to outcome to this product that you'd like to sell at the end. Start to map it out. What is this step that makes sense? For me in my business, it is my brand fluency archetype courses. So if somebody finds out what their archetype is and they want to implement it into their business and get the shortcut in doing so, I've spent literally thousands of hours creating brand fluency archetype courses. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have a course for each of your outcomes, although that is very effective. You could have a single offer that makes sense no matter what outcome they get from the quiz. So here's what most people start with. This is like JV version, right? So we have the quiz and it leads to 3 different outcomes. What I recommend for all of the people that I advise is that even beyond the little outcome page that's usually included in quiz software, it's even better to redirect people to a page on your website that describes that outcome in great detail, essentially giving people the tools that they need to take the next step or to decide how they're going to utilize this information in their business. Because if they get to the end and it just says, congratulations, you're in the launching phase of a business, they're gonna be like, okay, great. But what does that mean? So you want to answer, what does that mean on a full outcome page on your website, if possible. And then this is what my quiz funnel looks like these days, where I have optimized the heck out of it to make sure that I was giving the most value and creating the best experience for people. So people take the quiz, they get sent to an outcome page on my website where I give them a ton of free resources. So there's like a big infographic, there's a video about their type, there's a Pinterest board that's curated, and there's also calls to action. So if people want to visit my free masterclass on the archetype, they can do that. And then at the end of the masterclass, they're invited into the brand fluency archetype courses, right? So you can start to see how this strings together. But for those people that don't take action on that outcome page, it's really important to get them on your email list. So what I do recommend is that you require the email address to get the result. Intuitive or attentive ones of you that are watching will know that I didn't used to do that, and I actually don't. And this is a little bit of a do as I say, not as I do situation. The reason why I don't require the email address on my quiz is because I frankly should have. I probably would have a lot more results to show, but I knew and I know that people are using it in like college courses as a teaching tool. People have been using it as resource for their clients. And then a lot of my people are taking the quiz multiple times. I didn't want to have multiple email addresses from the same person. That might change in the future. I might shift that because I know for a fact I'm losing out on conversion rates because I don't require the email address. So take that as you will. But I always incentivize, and it's always important to create a quid pro quo. Like, if you give me your email address, I'm going to send you this really valuable thing. So I have a PDF for each of the outcomes that I deliver if somebody does sign up for my email list. And then there's additional free resources that are sent in the follow up emails to give even more value. And then after I've set them up with all of that free value, we transition into, okay, if you want to learn even more, if you want the deep dive, if you want the shortcut, then visit or check out the courses or go to the free masterclass again. And all of that leads into your paid offer. Okay. And then it's really important not to miss the promotion phase because we can't just create this beautiful quiz and then expect people to find it. So we need to put intentional effort into how we're going to promote it. So create some mix of paid traffic, organic promotion, and then just linking on all of your different brand platforms. So have it in your Instagram bio, have it somewhere on your website, a call to action to join you there, LinkedIn, wherever you are, wherever your brand is, make sure that you're telling people to head over to the quiz because it's that beautiful top of funnel. Here's a recap of everything that we just covered. I know that it was a lot, and we're going to go into some more in just a second. So industry fit, is it going to work for you? I'm yet to see a business that it doesn't work for. I imagine, I mean, I do have like a trucking and logistics client of mine that I worked one-on-one with. A quiz might be a little bit more difficult for somebody like them, but it could even be a quiz that helps them identify their opportunities to reduce waste or to make their logistics system and their importing system more efficient, right? It doesn't have to be super entertaining. It can just be useful. We talked about choosing a topic and making sure that it is strategic for your business so that it's ultimately going to lead to whatever that paid product is or next offer is. We also talked about the crucial mistakes to avoid and some of the things that I've witnessed in my years, and then the total funnel that you're going to want to think about building. Now, I hope please implement this. Like, please put this into your business. I cannot wait to hear the impact that it has if you take this and you install it as a lead generation system. However, if you want to make this process easier, I have something for you. If you'd like the shortcut, I have a new course that is called Convert with a Quiz. Convert with a Quiz is this whole system in a whole lot more detail. So, for example, we have a 32-minute training on how to pick your topic, and we go really deep into that. And we talk about how to set up the funnel. And I give you the exact examples of what emails I send, or what ads have converted the best for me, what my outcome pages look like, and how you can build your own, what elements you should put on it in what order, all of those good things. We talk about how to write those results that resonate, so that empowering, affirming, and useful information at the end of your quiz, how to create some more of that sleight of hand and mystery in the Q&A and answers that you include, including a bunch of examples and ideas that you can, take and adjust for your particular brand. And then also how to unlock those keys to conversion. In other words, how to build this whole funnel. And then finally, like we mentioned, we can't just build the party or like plan the party. We need to invite people. And that should be a continual process. The amazing thing with quizzes is that you don't have to rebuild the quiz every month or every year. You can optimize it. You can make it better. You can continue to like add more value to it, but it can be something that serves you. I mean, how long has it been since 2013? I'm terrible at mental math, but it's been a long time, right? 9 years, 9 years total. Amazing. I give you the behind the scenes tour of exactly how my quiz is set up on Try Interact and exactly how my email automation is set up on Active Campaign. Now, you don't have to use that particular blend of technology. What you do want to look for is a quiz platform that's going to collect email addresses, and ideally one that can redirect traffic at the end of the quiz back to your website, to those outcome pages. And then your email software, you're going to want to have one where you can have an automation set up. So no matter when somebody takes your quiz, they're getting those same valuable emails sent to them. This is one of the students that joined us when we first launched. And she said, I'm just finishing up the last video, and this course is worth every dollar and every minute. And she actually had a quiz before she started, but the quiz course, Convert with a Quiz, gave her a whole lot of extra clarity on some of the mistakes that she had been making and then how to maximize the result. So with the course, you get videos where I walk you through the process step by step. There's an 80-page workbook. So every detail of your quiz is broken down into easy to follow, like examples and steps. We even created graphic templates for you to use as your ads or as your organic posts on social media. And then you get access to 2 recorded sessions that I previously did. I'll tell you, I had a lot of hesitancy about creating this course because I'm the brand strategist, right? I'm the psychology driven brand strategist. And I didn't want to confuse people, but this has been the most requested training and information from my audience for years now. This course, if you look on my website, sells normally for $497, and it is worth every penny. Imagine if you just get one more sale or several more sales, and then multiply that month over month over month that your quiz is going to be running. You can see how this investment pays itself off very quickly. Also, remember that the cost of leads decreases considerably with this strategy. So instead of paying $10 or spending hours to generate just a few leads, you now have an automated system that is very cost effective. However, since you're here on this webinar, I have really exciting news. I have a coupon that I don't share anywhere else. It's only for you because you registered for this training, and you need to use it within 48 hours of watching this masterclass to take advantage. It is a $100 off coupon. So instead of $497, if you invest in yourself and your leads and your audience and your future sales now with Convert with a Quiz, you will get it for just $397. So excited. Can't wait to see the quiz that you built. Now, for most of you, doing the self-paced do-it-yourself course is going to be exactly what you need. It's a good return on investment. But for some of you, I know that you prefer to have one-on-one support. You don't want to guess or go through this process on your own. You want somebody to hold your hand through each step of the way. And for those of you that value that one-on-one support, I have an option where you and I will work directly together And over the course of 3 90-minute one-on-one sessions, we will work on building your quiz together. So you'll get my eyes on every part of the process, from the actual quiz build to the funnel that you set up to how you are promoting and optimizing the quiz over time. Thanks so much for sticking with me. We'll get to Q&A right after this. But before that, make sure that you take advantage of the 2 free resources that I promised you at the beginning. And surprise, you actually get both. So I hope that they are both incredibly valuable to you, whether you continue on this journey with me or not. These are going to get you started and make sure that you have a lot of ideas on how you're going to move forward. Make sure that you click the button in the top right of this page to take advantage of those free bonuses. And that's also your link to enroll in Convert with a Quiz with this exclusive $100 coupon that is available to you now. I'm going to go ahead and answer some of the questions that were posed to me when we recorded this live. If you happen to be watching the replay, type your question into the comment box on the right, and somebody on my team will answer your question and get back to you as soon as possible. Penny asked if there's payment plans for the VIP. I don't have any set up on the page right now, Penny, but if you are serious about it and you want that support, that one-on-one VIP experience, send my team an email and we can split it up into 2 payments. Teresa says, can you repeat the VIP? So VIP, you get the course, you get all of the templates, you get everything that's included in the course, but then we pair that with 3 90-minute one-on-one sessions with me. So we'll sit down together, figure out your topic, your key questions and answers. We'll build your funnel, make sure that that's all set up correctly. And then also talk about your promotion. How are you going to get this beautiful baby out into the world? Eva asks, is this an online course or are you going to teach it live? This is self-paced. Everything is all included in there. The only live portion is if you upgrade to that VIP. Toomey asked, will a quiz work on B2B with CEO, CIO, CTO, etc. personas? The cool thing about all of the work that I do, branding and quiz lead generation marketing, we always have to remember that no matter what somebody's title is, they are a human. And humans love tailored, specific information that's relevant to them. And quizzes can deliver ultra relevant information. I noticed a quiz that was sold by like a software as a I think they were a software company, maybe they were a software agency, but it was essentially like identify where your startup could find cost savings. It was more powerful than that, but the short answer is yes, absolutely. It works for CEOs, it works for CTOs. You just have to find the right topic that's relevant to that audience. And the beautiful thing about that is when you land on that relevant topic, so that question that they're asking themselves, that one that is keeping them up at night, and you can give them the answer tailored to their specific situation, the whole system works beautifully. And chances are what's relevant for CEOs and CTOs, CIOs is not relevant for general population, which means that you're going to do a really good job of qualifying and attracting the right people to your business. Ooh, Jen, great question. Can one create a quiz without paying for a service like Try Interact to do so? Is there a free option? Especially these days, there's tens, if not hundreds, of different quiz platforms. So absolutely do your own research. The 2 things that you're looking for is, can I collect somebody's email address after they take the quiz? Even if you couldn't, you could do it in the opposite direction. It might not work quite as well, but you could actually collect somebody's email address before they take the quiz and then send them to a hidden page on your website and have them take the quiz there. So there's always options, not to confuse things. And then the other question is, when somebody gets the end of the quiz, what happens? So you'd want to like test out their demo and see if it's a possibility to not only just stay on that quiz platform, but to bring somebody into your website, into your funnel. Tina asked a similar question. Should or could you host a quiz on your own website instead? Absolutely. I have known people who have done who have development expertise, who have created their own self-hosted, custom-coded quiz. The strategy that I teach absolutely still applies and would probably even help direct that process since you're starting from scratch. So yeah, it would absolutely work. Same thing. You just want to make sure that you have that lead generation ability. Lila asked, what if my quiz topic is not unique and others have done similar quizzes? Thank you so much for asking this question. That is okay. Chances are that's going to happen. If you go and look at that 123 quiz topics that I curated for you, you'll notice that a lot of them sound kind of similar. Like, what's your money persona? What are your money values? What's your money personality? What's your spending personality? As long as it's a relevant question for your human, the way that you are going to knock somebody's socks off and for it to be just knock out of the park, amazing lead generator for your business is what you do after the quiz. So that value rich outcome page, those incredibly valuable, I'm trying to think of a different synonym, but valuable emails that you send to follow up with somebody based on their situation. That is where we earn the sale. That's where we deepen the relationship. The quiz itself is just the gateway. So if the topic isn't the most unique thing in the world, that is okay. We can still create a unique experience. Tina asked, how do you ensure that the quiz software website will not, for example, go out of business and you won't lose your quiz? Valid. Thank you. The beautiful thing is the quiz is such a small part of my funnel. And I have a naturally optimistic and very not risk adverse personality. So this is the first time I'm thinking about it. But it would be super easy for me to make a habit of exporting actually, I don't even need to do that. You could export all of the data from whatever quiz software that you're using, but you already have the email addresses of the people that opt in. So you already own that relationship. That's the most valuable part. And then the quiz itself, you could always just take screenshots or save a copy of your questions and answers and outcomes. But it's truly such a it's just that doorway that people are walking through. You're not at that much risk, even if that catastrophe happened. Aaliyah says, I'm in module 2 of the course now. Frankly, I'm sad when I have to do work on other things for the business because all I want to do is work on the course and finish my quiz. I know I can't wait until it's up. Carol says, it's an awesome course. Thank you. Same says Elizabeth. Tanya asked, is a quiz a good thing if I just sell knitting patterns that are $5 to $8 per pattern? I would say so. I imagine that you have a plethora of product options and confusion kills confusion kills sales. Whenever people are stuck in analysis paralysis, then we can move them out of that space into making a decision that brings people closer to the sale. So product identifying or product choosing quizzes can be very powerful for businesses like yours. Debbie asked, is it possible to ask some branding questions in any of the 90-minute sessions with me? Yeah, absolutely. Those 90-minute sessions are your own. So if you want to diverge away from the quiz a little bit, that's totally fair game. Eve asked, will you help me figure out what my most relevant quiz to my audience could be about? I go between too many ideas and going blank. Yes, both the course can help you make that decision. And then if we work one-on-one, I absolutely can give you feedback and help you work through that thought process. Sometimes it's a legitimate question like what do I do? What's going to work? And I can help you steer in a strategic direction. Other times we just need permission to take the step, right? To do the thing that is going to grow our business. And I can help in either capacity, either as a consultant or as a coach. Marissa asked, should you create a quiz to sell your different offers or one for all offers in health and fitness? You can do it in either direction. I tend to look at quizzes like I'm assuming it's going to be the first touch point that people have with my brand for all of the reasons that we talked about already. And because of that, I want to introduce the product first that I think is best as a first step. I mentioned I was self-conscious about selling Convert with a Quiz. I'll probably never offer Convert with a Quiz as the first thing that people see in my world because I want them to know me as a brand strategist. So I would ask yourself, like, what is your number 5 perfume if you're Chanel? What is your iPhone if you're Apple? What is the thing that you want people to know you for? And to build a quiz that leads into that. Does Teachable offer quiz software? I believe Teachable offers assessment quizzes at the end of their lessons, but I don't believe that they have this full functionality that we would be looking at for lead generation. It looks like there is a free quiz option called involve.me that is free and you get the email address. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Eve. Jen said, I've thought about using Google Forms to create the quiz and then ask for an email and then send a link to take them to pages on my website. That could work. Google Forms are kind of clunky and ugly. And coming from a design background, I'm very particular about that. So I think if you could find a free platform that specializes in this process and making it engaging for people, I think you would have a much higher completion rate than sending somebody to a Google form, but it could potentially work. Great question, Teresa. In VIP, will I need to subscribe or purchase other programs or software like Try Interact? You will need quiz software. Try Interact is paid if you want to collect email addresses. It sounds like there's some free versions. Involve.me. I'm going to use that. I'm going to check it out after and start to recommend that because I think that it's amazing to have that option. And then you need email software that is going to deliver an automation. I currently use ActiveCampaign. You can use things like MailChimp or ConvertKit. You probably already have an email marketing system, but you're going to need that to make this whole funnel work. Yane asked, what type of quiz do you recommend for a SaaS company? Again, going back to those questions, what is this burning complex question that your ideal client is trying to answer? And then you can provide them with a few strategies that they can use to tackle that. Or think about your customers as a whole and what are some different aspects, like some different categories of the different types of customers, and not just the obvious ones, not like, okay, this is a small business, this is a medium business, this is a large business, but maybe something more related to their values. Like this company values speed, this one values growth, this one values team and culture. So and I don't know what your SaaS business is, so it's hard to tailor the answer to this question, but go back to those same questions. Janice asked, could I talk about brainstorming on how to come up with the quiz in the first place? Do I think about results first or just what I would like to know? Yes, I do tend in my own thought process, I start in both directions. I mentioned earlier in this training, know what you want to sell after. So the whole quiz experience is free, but what are we ultimately leading them to? And make sure that that quiz topic is congruent with that, whatever we're going to lead them into. So if we're going to sell, to use an example from a one-on-one client of mine. So if we're going to sell a course about how to nourish your dog, and it's going to teach about, food, like literal nourishment, but then also how to love and like support that relationship with your dog, it might make sense to do some type of like nutrition profile or like the different types of dogs and how that relates to nutrition and taking care of them. We want it to be a logical next step to move into your paid product. The other way that you can think about that, if it's useful, because brainstorming is, we just want to get as many ideas down on paper as possible, is what are the common questions that people get or people ask me? Or what is unique about my different types of clients? Laura asked, I'm an artist and want to sell mixed media paintings. Is a quiz possible for me? Yes. For e-commerce businesses, it tends to lean towards what product is right for you. Or maybe like, what's your interior design style? What type of art should you add to your home? Or what does your preference in art say about you? All of those could be really cool ideas for an artist. Sharon says, thanks for the valuable info and valuable free gifts. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Suzanne, yes. Suzanne says she took the VIP level of the course and it was amazing. Highly recommend working with Kate if you're building our quiz. Thank you, Suzanne. It was amazing working with you. Iman asked, how do I come up with quiz questions? Do you have a process and is that in the course? Yes, we have a whole lesson on how to write quiz questions. Essentially, we want to ask people to share their opinion with us or to share their perspective or how they think about things, what they prefer to do, like what actions they take. We want it to be a self-reflective process when somebody is answering the questions to keep it focused on them. I don't know if there's 100, but there are tons of example questions that you can borrow and pull in and use and modify for your own business situation. Judith asks, is it possible to actually show more than one result, like the 4 different archetypes with the tool that you are using? With Try Interact, there is. I've actually just moved away from that. So I have officially reduced that 4 down to the top result and I send people directly to the outcome page. Reason for that is I cannot count the number of questions that we received in a state of confusion about what having 4 archetypes meant. So because this is just the first touch point to a brand and I'm introducing them to my world, I don't want to create confusion. I want to create clarity. So I decided to simplify it to just point people to the top archetype. I actually have a hidden version of the quiz. So if somebody needs help and they still want to see their top 4 or like help figuring out what their secondary or tertiary archetypes are, I still have that as a tool. But in terms of lead generation, I want to make it as clear of a path as possible for people. Thank you, Karen. Karen says, I have the best energy and give energy. Thank you. This is my favorite thing to do in the world. I love teaching live. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It's been amazing. Thank you. Eve asked, oh, how long is the course? How much time do I need to invest? If you were to sprint through this, I actually have it set up in 5 days. From my experience working with my VIP one-on-ones, I think it would be more reasonable to say that it's going to take probably a solid month if you aren't solely working on a quiz. Like if you have other responsibilities in your life, probably take a good month to get this whole funnel set up. The quiz itself could be done easily in a day. And like I said, I have it broken down. Okay, day one, focus on this. Day two, do this. Day three, four, and five to have the whole funnel set up. But I think it's more reasonable to anticipate about a month if you're spending at least, I don't know, maybe that you just need some creative blocks of time. You need some creative blocks of time to create the quiz itself, which is one piece of it. And then you need a creative block of time to create that outcome page. And you need a creative block of time to write those emails and a creative block of time to create a resource. So depending on how many outcomes that you have, I do not recommend having 12. Learn from me there. Especially, I typically recommend between 3 to 5 at the most outcomes, but you have to multiply that against all of those different pockets of time that you're going to take. So if you're giving yourself spaciousness, I would recommend maybe about a month to get it all up and running. 5 days of how many hours? The courses, the lessons themselves are less than 30 minutes. Some of them are 15 minutes. So it would be maybe an average of 20 to 25 minutes of consuming the content, but then you have to do the creation after. Desiree says, your work has been so eye-opening and clarifying for me. Thank you. Yari asked, do you touch on marketing the quiz, getting eyes on it beyond your existing audience, or is that only part of the VIP? That is included in the course. It's day 5. And that wraps us up. Thank you again for being such an incredible human. I am so thrilled and honored that you spent this time with me today. And I would love to continue the conversation and to continue to build our relationship. I am all over the interwebs. You will find me most active on Instagram and YouTube. And as you know from this training, if you want to get the deep dive and learn everything that's up in this crazy brain of mine, then investing in the program is the best way to do that. Keep being amazing. Keep building your brand. You are meant to be here to serve and impact the people that you are being called to serve. And what you do, no matter how small it feels, has a ripple effect that impacts more people than you know. Keep being you. Keep being amazing. I will see you hopefully soon.